Alright, today we are doing polynomials part 3 and we will be learning about factorize. Factorize or factorization. Now, under factorize you might be given two types of polynomial. The first one will be quadratic polynomial and then cubic polynomial. In case you don't remember what is quadratic polynomial and cubic polynomial, quadratic polynomial is a polynomial with degree 2. It will be in the form like 4x square plus 3x plus any number, say 16. Here the degree is 2. Degree 2. Degree 2 is called quadratic polynomial, and cubic polynomial will be like say 5x cube plus 2x square minus 7x plus 5 in this form. Here the degree will be 3. Degree means the greatest power. Here the greatest power is 3, so it is called a cubic polynomial, and here the degree is 2, the greatest power is 2, so it is called quadratic polynomial. For quadratic polynomial it is simple, you have learned before also. Now suppose if I ask you to factorize a number, say 6. Factorize 6. Then how would you factorize? You would write 6 is equal to 2 into 3. This is how we factorize. Similarly, a quadratic polynomial will have two factors, which we will do by splitting the middle term, which you have learned earlier. Now let us solve some question to understand how to factorize quadratic polynomial. Now suppose the question given is, say, factorize 2x square plus 7x plus 3. Suppose this is the question. Now here this is a quadratic polynomial because the degree is 2. What we do here, we find out the middle term. The middle term is positive 7, which we call it as the sum, and then we multiply the first number with the constant, the last number, and this thing becomes the product. So here we can see the sum is 7 and product is 2 3s are 6. Now we need to find the two numbers such that after adding them we should get the sum positive 7, and after multiplying the same numbers we should get the product, which is 6. Now 6 comes in the table of 2 and 3. 2 3s are 6, but 2 and 3 will nowhere give 7 even if we add or subtract. So another number to find out 6 is 6 1s are 6. 6 1s are 6, and 6 and 1 will give 7. So the numbers are 6 and 1. How do we write this? We write this 2 as it is, then x square as it is, then plus as it is, and instead of writing 7 we will write down the two new number. This x will remain as it is, plus will remain as it is, and 3 will remain as it is. Now instead of 7 we have to write 6 and 1, so 6 plus 1, which makes 7. Now we remove the bracket, x will be multiplied with both of them. We have 2x square plus 6x plus 1x plus 3. Now we take what is common between the first two number and common between the second two number. Among these two we have 2 common in both of them and also x common in both of them, so 2 and x we have taken. Now after removing 2 and x, one more x is there, and from here 2 into what makes 6, 2 into 3 makes 6, and 1 x was there which we have taken, so no more x here. Among these two nothing is common, so we take 1. 1 is the factor of all the number. Now 1 into x makes it 1x plus 1 into 3 makes it 3. Now inside the bracket there should be same, which is same here, so our answer is correct. We can write it as x plus 3 once, the common thing we'll write it once, and then outside the bracket what we have we will write it in another bracket, which is 2x and plus 1, so 2x plus 1. Now this is the factorization of 2x square plus 7x plus 3, so we write it as therefore 2x square plus 7x plus 3 is equal to x plus 3 in one bracket and 2x plus 1 in another bracket. This becomes the answer. Now the next question is 3x square minus x minus 4. Now once again we see the middle term. The middle term here is negative 1. If we write just x, then how many x we have? We have 1x, which we may write or may not write, makes the same meaning. We have 1. If I write y, how many y we have? We have 1y. If I have 2y, I would write it as 2 into y. If I have 2x, I write it as 2x. If I have 5x, I write 5x. But if I have only 1x, you can directly write it as x, which means 1x. Now here we have negative 1x minus 4. The sum is minus 1 and the product is 3 into minus 4 minus 12 is the product and minus 1 is the sum. So here we have sum as minus 1 and product as 3 into 3 fours are 12 minus 12. Now we need to take two numbers such that their sum should be equal to minus 1 and their product should be equal to minus 12. Now 12 comes in the table of 6 into 2. 6 2s are 12, but 6 and 2 will not give minus 1. Another number to find 12 is 3 and 4, and 3 and 4, if we find the difference, we will get 1. Now in order to get minus 1, this greater number has to be minus. 3 into minus 4 is minus 12. Now we write it as 3x square. We always take plus even if we have minus here, because minus we have taken out here. Now inside the bracket we will write down the two numbers, then this x will be outside, minus will be outside, and 4 will be outside. The two numbers are 3 and minus 4. We can write it as 3 minus 4. Now we shall remove the bracket. This becomes 3x square plus 3 into x, 3x, minus 4 into x, minus 4x, minus 4. Now we see what is common between the first two number and common between the last two number. Between the first two number we have 3 and x common. If we take 3 and x, from here 3 and x taken, one more x is there, plus from here we have taken 3 as well as x, so 3x into 1 gives you 3x. Now among these two, what is common? We have minus common in both of them and 4 common in both of them. Minus and 4 taken, what is left? X. Minus already taken out, so no more minus. 4 into what gives you 4? 1. Now inside the bracket there should be same, which is same here. So we can write it as x plus 1 in one bracket, and then the outside thing we will put it in another bracket, which is 3x minus 4. This is the factorized form of 3x square minus x plus 4. So we write this implies 3x square minus x minus 4 is equal to x plus 1 in one bracket and 3x minus 4 in another bracket. This is splitting the middle term, and we are solving quadratic polynomial. But if we have a cubic polynomial, now for cubic polynomial the question will be same, factorize. Suppose the question is x cube, because it is cubic polynomial, the degree should be 3. X cube minus 3x square minus 9x and minus 5. This is a cubic polynomial, and a cubic polynomial will not have a single middle term, and this cannot be solved by splitting the middle term. We have to find out one possible factor of this number by trial and error method. Now to solve this, first we will take all the possible factors of this minus 5. So possible factors of minus 5 are, now minus 5 comes in the table of 1. It can be negative 1 or positive 1. Then it can be minus 5 or plus 5. Now we will check with all the numbers to find out which number is the factor of this entire polynomial. First of all, we write what is p of x. P of x is the entire polynomial x cube minus 3x square minus 9x minus 5. We will check with the first minus 1. So all the x will become minus 1. This x will become minus 1. This cube will remain as it is. Minus will remain as it is. 3 will remain as it is. Again this x will become minus 1. Square will remain as it is. Minus 9. This x will become minus 1. Minus 5. Now if we solve this one, this thing you have done in many other exercises of chapter 2, so I'll do it a little faster. Minus 1 cube is minus 1. Then minus 1 square will become 1. 1 into minus 3 is minus 3. Minus 9 into minus 1 is plus 9, and minus 5. Now if we add up all the positive number here, all the positive number will be 9, and sum of all the negative number will be minus 9. 9 minus 9 becomes 0. So we come to know that it is a factor. When the remainder is 0, that means it is a factor. So we can say this implies, or therefore x equals to minus 1 is a factor. Now if x equals to minus 1 is a factor and minus 1 we bring this side, it becomes x plus 1 is a factor. And if x plus 1 is a factor, then we can divide this entire polynomial with x plus 1. Now let us divide this polynomial with x plus 1. X plus 1, and the entire polynomial is x cube minus 3x square minus 9x minus 5. Now division of polynomial you have learned earlier also. Let us see how to divide this polynomial with x plus 1. Now first of all we need to see x multiplied with what number gives x cube. X should be multiplied with something to get x cube. Now we know that we multiply with x, it becomes x square. So x should be multiplied with x square to get x cube. If we multiply this with x square, we will get x cube. Now we close this, but before subtracting, this number should be multiplied with x square. 1 into x square will give you 1x square. Both of them are positive, so positive 1 x square. You may write 1 or may not write 1, it is 1, makes no difference. Now we change the sign. This is positive, it will become negative. This is also positive, it will become negative. Now x cube minus x cube becomes 0. Minus 3 and minus 1. Minus 3 and minus 1 will give you minus 4. So here we have minus 4x square minus 9x and minus 5. Now again we need to multiply x with something to get minus 4x square. Now if we multiply x with, we should get 4x square. We should get minus 4x square. Now if we multiply x with minus 4, we will get minus 4x, but we need square also, so one more x should be here. X into minus 4x square will give you minus 4x square. So if we multiply this with minus 4x, we get minus 4x square. Now we close this, but before subtracting, this should be multiplied with this one. 1 multiplied with anything remains same. So 1 into minus 4x will give you minus 4x. Now we change the sign. This thing becomes positive. Negative becomes positive and negative becomes positive. Remember, when we subtract, all the sign changes. Now we have 4x square minus 4x square becomes 0. 9 and plus 4. Minus 9 and plus 4. If we have minus 9 and plus 4, minus 9 and plus 4 will give you 5. Greater number sign is minus. So we have minus 5x and minus 5. Now x should be multiplied with something to get minus 5x. Minus 5x. If we multiply x with 5, we get 5x, and if we multiply x with minus 5, we get minus 5x. So if we multiply with minus 5, we get minus 5x. We close this, but again we multiply with 1 into minus 5 is minus 5. Now we change the sign. This minus becomes plus and this minus becomes plus. Now 5x minus 5x will become 0. Again 5 minus 5 will become 0. The remainder is 0. It has to be 0 because we already know that x plus 1 is a factor. If it is a factor, then the remainder has to be 0. Now we take the question. The question is x square minus 4x minus 5. Now if you observe this nicely, this is a quadratic polynomial. Now quadratic means the degree is 2, and if it is a quadratic polynomial, we follow the previous method of factorizing a quadratic polynomial by splitting the middle term. Here the sum is minus 4 and the product is, this is the sum and this is the product. So here we have the sum as minus 4 and the product as, here we have 1 into minus 5 is minus 5. Now we will take two numbers such that, now we need to take two numbers such that the sum of these two numbers should be minus 4 and the product of the same number should be minus 5. Now 5 comes in the table of 5 ones are 5, 5 ones are 5, and in order to get minus 4 with 5 and 1, this 5 has to be minus 5. Minus 5 into 1 will give you minus 5. Minus 5 and plus 1 will give minus 4. Now we solve this by writing the x square as it is. Instead of writing minus, we always write plus. Remember, even if we have minus, we write plus because minus we have taken out. Now inside the bracket we will write in the two numbers, this x minus 5. The two numbers are minus 5 and plus 1. Now if we remove the bracket, it becomes x square. Minus 5 into x is minus 5x. 1 into x will give you 1x minus 5. Now we see what can be taken common between these two number and what can be taken common between these two number. Among these two we have x is common. If we take x common, we have 1x left minus x taken is only 5. And among these two we have nothing common, so we write just 1, and 1 into x makes it 1x. 1 into minus 5 makes it minus 5. So these two numbers are the, so inside the bracket they should be same, so they are same. Here we have x minus 5 in one bracket, and outside thing we'll put it in another bracket. We have x and plus 1, x plus 1. This is the factorization of the quadratic polynomial, but they did not ask you to factorize the quadratic polynomial. It is a quadratic polynomial, so we have 2, but they asked you to factorize this cubic polynomial. Now for this cubic polynomial, we already found one of the factor. One of the factor is this one, and 2 factor is this one. Because it is cubic polynomial, there will be 3 factors, so we write the cubic polynomial. This implies the cubic polynomial is x cube minus 3x square minus 9x minus 5 is equal to, the first one which we got was x plus 1, so we write down x plus 1. Then the 2 other factors are x minus 5 and x plus 1. Because it is cubic polynomial, we got 3 factors. This becomes the answer. Let us see one more question for this cubic polynomial. Now the question will be same factorized, but after looking the polynomial, we'll get to know whether it is a cubic polynomial or a quadratic polynomial. Now suppose the question is 2y cube plus y square minus 2y minus 1. Now this is a cubic polynomial because the degree is 3. Now a cubic polynomial will not have a particular middle term, and we cannot solve it by splitting the middle term. We will solve it by trial and error method. One of the factor we will find out by trial and error method, and after getting one factor, it is easy to find out the other 2 factors from the quadratic polynomial. Now first of all, we take what are the possible factors of minus 1. Possible factors of minus 1 are, minus 1 can come in the table of minus 1 or 1. We will go on checking and find out which one is a factor. Once we get one factor, we will find out the other 2 factors by splitting the middle term. Now p of x, remember here it is y, so we write p of y is equal to, p of y is equal to 2y cube plus y square minus 2y minus 1, and all this y will be changed with minus 1. First of all, p of minus 1, this 2 will remain as it is, this y will become minus 1, cube will remain as cube, plus will remain as plus, y will become minus 1, square minus 2 will remain as it is, this y will become minus 1, and then minus 1. Now minus 1 cube will make it minus 1. Minus 1 into 2 is minus 2. Then minus 1 square will make it plus 1. Plus 1 outside we have plus, so it remains plus 1. Minus 2 into minus 1. 2 ones are 2. Minus minus becomes plus. Plus 2, and then minus 1 we keep it as it is. Now we add up all the positive numbers. Positive numbers 2 and 1 will make it 3, and all the negative numbers 2 and 1 will make it 3. 3 minus 3 becomes 0. If the remainder is 0, then we can say that minus 1 is the factor of this polynomial. So we write it down. Therefore y equals to minus 1 is a factor. Now if y equals to minus 1 is a factor and we bring minus 1 this side, we have y plus 1. Y plus 1 is a factor. Y plus 1 is a factor. If y plus 1 is a factor, that means the entire polynomial will be divisible by y plus 1. So p of y is divisible by y plus 1. So if it is divisible, we will divide and find out what is the quotient. So p of y is 2y cube plus y square minus 2y minus 1, and we are going to divide this with y minus y plus 1. So here we will do the rough work. Now y should be multiplied with certain number to get 2y cube. So y we should multiply with something. Now y should be multiplied with something to get 2y cube. So if you multiply this with some number, we should get 2y cube. Y, if it is multiplied with 2, we get 2y. We need y cube, so we need y square here. Y, if multiplied with 2y square, it becomes 2y cube. So y should be multiplied with 2y square, it becomes 2y cube. Now we close this. Before subtracting, 1 should be multiplied with 2y square. If 1 is multiplied with 2y square, it becomes 2y square. Now we subtract them, but to subtract we need to change the sign. This becomes minus and this becomes minus. Now 2y cube minus 2y cube will become 0, and 1 minus 2. If we have 1 minus 2, the answer will be minus 1. So here we will have minus 1 y square minus 2y minus 1. Now y should be multiplied with something to get minus 1 y square. Y multiplied with something to get minus 1 y square. If you multiply y with minus 1, we get minus 1 y, but to get square we need one more y here. So if y is multiplied with minus 1 y, we get minus 1 y square. Now we close this, but before subtracting, 1 should be multiplied with minus 1 y. It will become minus 1 y. Now change the sign. This becomes positive and this becomes positive. 1 y square minus 1 y square plus 1 y square will become 0. Minus 2 and plus 1. Minus 2 plus 1 becomes 1. Greater number sign is minus. So we will have minus 1 y and minus 1. Now y should be multiplied with something to get minus 1 y. Y, if we multiply with minus 1, we get minus 1 y. And then this 1 should be multiplied with minus 1. 1 into minus 1 is minus 1. Now we change the sign. This becomes positive and this becomes positive. Y, 1y plus 1y and minus 1y will become 0, plus 1 and minus 1 will become 0. We got the remainder 0, which has to be 0 because we already know it is a factor. Now after dividing, we got the quotient as this one. So quotient is equal to 2 y square minus 1y minus 1. Now we see what is the sum here. The sum is minus 1 and the product is this one. So here we have the sum as minus 1 and the product 2 into minus 1 is minus 2. We have to find out two numbers such that after adding them we get 1, and the same number, this is minus 1, we get minus 1, and the same number after multiplying we should get 2 into minus 1 as minus 2. Now 2 comes in the table of 2 only. 2 ones are 2, so the numbers are 2 and 1. Now 2 and 1 after subtracting should give you minus 1. In order to get minus 1, 2 has to be negative. So minus 2 and plus 1 are the required numbers. What we do, we write down this as 2y square, then plus, and instead of taking minus 1 we will write down the new number. Y will remain as it is, then y will remain as it is, minus 1. Now instead of writing minus 1 we can write minus 2 plus 1, minus 2 plus 1. Now we remove the bracket. If we remove the bracket, this becomes 2y square. Minus 2 into y will make it minus 2y, plus 1 into y will make it plus 1y, and then minus 1 will just copy. What can be taken common between these two number and between these two? Among these two we have 2 common as well as y common. If we take 2 and y, the left out one only y. Then 2y we have taken common, we have only 1 left. Among these two we can take plus 1. Plus 1 into y is 1y, plus 1 into minus 1 is minus 1. Now inside the bracket there should be same, which is same, so we write it down as y minus 1, and the outside thing we put it in another bracket, which is 2y plus 1. Now these two are the factors of this quadratic polynomial. This is quadratic now because degree 2. But they asked you to find out the factors of this cubic polynomial. For this cubic polynomial, one of the factor was this one and the other two factors are these two. So these three factors make the cubic polynomial. So this implies the cubic polynomial 2y cube plus y square minus 2y minus 1 is equal to, the first one was y plus 1 and the other two y minus 1 and 2y plus 1. This